Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Jay Wise and Nathan Drinkard. I'm your host, Cody Ward. Thanks for spending some of your time with us tonight. As a reminder to the listeners, besides being on all your favorite podcast platforms, A Drink of Wisdom is also on YouTube with each show segment available. Head on over, and if you like what you hear, we'd appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. What's going on, guys? Happy Friday.
What's going on, fellas? It's the beard, it's the drink, and the wisdom's here too. Let's get it.
Let's talk some sports, baby.
We all kinds of sports tonight. In episode 66, we tell you which NFL team swung and missed in the first round. We debate which NBA team is the best outside the Lakers, Clippers, and Bucks, and we welcome a special guest to the show in our last segment. You won't want to miss it. But let's begin with the NFL draft. Last night, the first round of the NFL's virtual draft took place, shattering all-time draft viewership numbers, up 37% from last year. Presentation mostly went without hitches, and the first round is in the books. There were no surprises at the top, with the Bengals taking Joe Burrow and Washington taking Chase Young, but there were a few other interesting picks down the line. So today, guys, we're going to start off with the winners from last night. And Drink, give me your top three winners from last night and why.
All right. Well, my first one, I went with the Miami Dolphins for obvious reasons. Let's be real here. We heard all the smoke about Tua sliding in the drafts and this, that, and the third. But look, the Dolphins was in desperate need of a quarterback. And the people, they remember they haven't had a quarterback since Dan Marino. So that's a long time ago. And they remember the Drew Brees saga during the Nick Saban era. They knew, hey, they passed up on a quarterback due to injury, and then you end up with Dante Culpepper, and we know what happened. The rest was history. I want to applaud the Miami Dolphins for having the courage to go after Tua. They could have easily went and grabbed Justin Herbert, and most people probably wouldn't even bat an eye. We know Tua was the talent in here. Let's be honest here. The dude, if you actually look at it, he's the best pure passer in this draft. That's the positive. But when you look at the negative, he's also the most highly injured quarterback in the draft. So it did take some fortitude from the Miami Dolphins organization to pick him. So I went with the Miami Dolphins, and I applaud them for doing that. And I do think the risk will be worth the reward. My number two team was the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, first of all, let me say the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. When you're returning 20 of the 22 starters that you had in the Super Bowl, first of all, you already doing good. You're doing very good. Then you get a chance to bolster one of those two positions that you need to, which was running back, and why not go ahead and take the guy that fits your system, the Andy Reid system, the best. And that insert, it was Hilaire, the running back out of LSU. I heard that the GM actually talked to Andy Reid, and he told him, hey, listen, this cat right here, he could be better than Brian Westbrook was in our offense. And you know how good he was. I think this is our guy. Yeah, I'm hearing the DeAndre Swift and the J.K. Dobbins and all that good stuff, but we need this guy. This guy's a certified winner. He's been on a winning program, and he brings us all the goods that for example, Christian McCaffrey type player can bring you in our offense. So they went out, they grabbed him. Evidently, they need to get one more piece to solidify the team, but I love that pick by the Kansas City Chiefs with the 32 pick. Usually, a team that picks that late, usually the pick ain't that exciting because they're coming out Super Bowl, but I thought I was very excited about that. And then my third team was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's the deal. We've been hearing all this smoke about, they got Tom Brady, they got TBs, they got the GOAT down here, baby. You know what it is. Open up all the parts and let him come in even though he was supposed to be there. But either way, then weeks later we get, the 24/7 champ from the WWE, Big Grump, baby, he coming down here. He coming out of retirement just to play with Tom Brady. So we was hearing all this, and we like, okay, that's good. But they still didn't do anything to address the offensive line. They still didn't do anything to address that poor secondary. So I hear all that, but it's kind of like the Cleveland Brown effect. Like, this sounds good, but we haven't seen anything that's going to help those two areas. And then what do? They trade up a spot, and they get one of those top quadlets of offensive tackles that we've been talking about here for weeks and weeks. You know, Thomas, Wills, Worth, and the other guy, he slips my mind. But they trade up, they get Worth, so they get the quality offensive tackle that they needed to solidify that offensive line. I loved it because now Tom Brady can go back there with more confidence in itself, knowing that this team is actually doing stuff that I asked them to do. This is not New England where I'm like, hey, Bill, you think I can get an offensive lineman? No, I don't feel like paying for one, so I'm going to give you a running back. But I really like an offensive. Listen, Tom, I done told you. I'm going to give you a cornerback. But I need an offense. All right, whatever, Tom. Now he's at a franchise that say, hey, Tom, what else you want? Hey, we got a lemonade stand out back too. Hey, you want to go in somebody else's house? We'll cover it up. So, listen, he got what he wanted. Everything is good in the world. They still need to work on that secondary. And I feel like with what Tampa Bay have shown so far, they will work on the secondary with the rest of the draft. So I was happy with that. So, yeah, my top 3 winners for round 1 was the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers.
No argument at all as far as the number 1 winner last night. I think that would be the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, we know the risk, the injury concerns for Tua, but the upside I think is well worth it. And it's just one of those situations where there is some risk there. But again, the upside, I think they made the right move, and I think the upside for Tua exceeds that of even Joe Burrow. So I think Miami did the absolutely right thing. I think Miami's a good situation right now with what they're building. I like their coach, Brian Flores. I think he showed a lot last year with a team that was pretty lackluster from a talent perspective. And then you look at the supplementary picks they made in the first round. I think both of those picks were a bit of a reach. At Austin Jackson at the 18th overall pick. But we got to remember the top 4 tackles were already off the board, and the Miami Dolphins were clearly looking to prioritize protecting Tua. So they take Austin Jackson, who he's got a lot of upside as well. So we'll see how that works. And then I thought the cornerback position at 30 was a bit interesting with Noah Igbenogbe, but we got to remember Brian Flores coming down from New England. New England, not only did they have 2 good cornerbacks, they had 3 good ones when you add in Jonathan Jones to Jason McCourty and Stephon Gilmore. So Brian Flores seems to just be building on what he had in New England. I like it. I like what they've got going on there, and I think that was an exceptional first round they pulled off, and it's all highlighted by getting the quarterback. I think they got that right. Number 2, Arizona, I think they fell into a great pick. I know there was some conversations about you need to upgrade that offensive line to help your great quarterback. I get all that, but when you look at a guy in Isaiah Simmons and the type of talent he possesses, and we're talking about generational versatility with all the different things he can do on the defensive side of the ball. You talk about championship experience at Clemson, and you talk about the freakish athleticism he has, just a combine warrior, great speed, just everything you would want in a defensive player. And when the Giants passed on him at 4 and then the Panthers passed on him at 7, I think it was too good to pass up for Arizona, even though there could have been more pressing needs, you could say. But I'm with Arizona 100% on this. I think Isaiah Simmons is a slam dunk pick. And then my third one would be the Minnesota Vikings. You look at what they did this offseason. They traded the disgruntled Stephon Diggs. They got him out of there. The first round pick they got in return, they've replaced him with a younger, cheaper guy in Justin Jefferson, who I had as the 4th best receiver in this draft behind the big 3 of Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and CeeDee Lamb. And then you look defensively, we realize they got a lot of holes that they got to plug in on that side of the ball. They made a trade with San Francisco to trade back from the 25th pick, and they get Jeff Gladney out of TCU, pretty highly regarded cornerback out of the Big 12. And that was when you look at the losses they had of Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, the list goes on and on. Definitely had to get started on rebuilding that secondary on the outside there, and I think they did. And I don't think they're done stocking up on cornerbacks.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100%. I think Miami was the winner of the day. And it's easy, right? Because they had 3 first-round picks. So it's almost going to feel like, oh, they got 3 first-rounders. That's a great haul. But I really like that they didn't mind at the smoke screens. Kind of like what Drink was saying, too. You know, there was so much crap leading up to this draft. Oh, Miami's going to trade all their picks and go get Burrow. They're going to do this. Or they're not even take a quarterback at all. It's like, come on. Like, but we never know how much that is smokescreen and how much of it is okay, they're really talking about doing this. But it was evident that Cincinnati was never trading that pick. They sent Burrow jerseys like weeks ago before this, so it was a done deal. So whether it was their decision or not, they wound up with Tua, which again is a great pick. It's the best quarterback in the draft in some people's opinions. At least a guy that has the chance to be the best quarterback in the draft down the road. They could have went with Herbert, and they didn't do that. I think out of all the possible outcomes, they really stayed home and did the best one. Then you come back and get your tackle, which is a great pairing. And Jackson's a guy with some upside, but Miami's on a team that's going to be competing for a Super Bowl next year. So I like that they went ahead and said, okay, we could get a little safer guy, or we could go ahead and just get a guy that we think could be our left tackle for 10 years. And they went and got Jackson instead of taking maybe a safer option. So I definitely applaud that. And then I agree the cornerback pick was very good. I liked Noah a lot more than a lot of people, or some people rather. I had him a little bit higher than some of the other corners in this draft. So I really liked that pick. They just came back and just said, hey, who's the best player on the board that we like? We got this guy. Let's take him. Let's not worry about it. So I think it was a really smart, savvy, grounded draft for the Dolphins. I look at the Panthers. Also, as a big winner yesterday. When in doubt, you take the big guy. Because they had Brown and Simmons in front of them, and Simmons, like you said, Jay, he has the potential to be the best player in this draft when you look back. But the Panthers have a lot of problems on the defensive line, especially in the interior. Gerald McCoy's gone. Kwan Short's making $20 million a year. Can you really afford that this year and next year? And few people are going to play to the level that Derek Brown's going to play to. He's a 100 out of 100 character guy off the field. He's an absolute mauler on it. He's going to anchor that complete defensive revitalization. And we all know the heart of the defense starts right there in the inside and then moves out from there. So you got to get young, you get cheap at that position. I loved it. Instead of kind of resisting the temptation of going for the Simmons pick, I like how they stayed with Brown. And then I'll give Dallas the credit. I don't like to just give teams credit for just, this guy fell to me and we took him. Woo. But CeeDee Lamb was a smart pick for Dallas. This isn't a pick they had to make. Dallas came into this draft with a lot of defensive issues. They had pass rushing issues. They had cornerback issues. Calavian Chasen was there. Several good cornerbacks were there. And even Xavier McKinney was there in the backfield because you've only got Clinton Dix on a one-year deal. But they just simply they said, okay, we're going to take the most talented player that we have available, and that's CeeDee Lamb. And it gives Amari Cooper a legitimate number 2 across from him. And by the way, Cooper's contract, that $100 million contract, is only guaranteed after 2021 or up until 2021. So they could definitely look to cut salary. If you're going to sign Dak, you got Zeke's big contract, Dak's big contract. You may need a big way to cut a lot of salary in a hurry coming up in the next few years. And that could be a very easy way you could cut it and let Amari Cooper move on. And then you got CeeDee Lamb as your premier #1 wide receiver. So those are the 3 teams I think did the best as far as the draft went yesterday.